Hello, beautiful soul. I'm Vicki Howie of chakraboosters.com, the creator of Chakra Boosters Healing Tattoos. And welcome to your energy forecast for July 2020. Now we are in the second half of a pretty crazy external year. But I want you to go back and look at what I shared for 2020, the entire energy forecast for 2020, because it might seem a little Pollyannish because I actually ignored the stellium that I knew was coming in January. I didn't talk a lot about external things. I talked about the heart energy, connection, collaboration, and really we're seeing unprecedented amounts of this. And the coronavirus that has come, if you watch my video on that, you'll learn that its numerology is all about the heart and the crown. So there's so much for energy in this year. It's such a year of healing, such a year of connection, such a year of collaboration that I just want to remind you of that now that we've come to the halfway point. We've seen a lot of things fall by the wayside. We were warned in years and years ago. There has been years and years of astrologers talking about how the stellium of January 12th, 2020 would create the downfall of the power structures. And while I believed in that, I'm always more focused on what's going inside. And this year has actually been better for me, more of a love year, more of a connection year, more of a year of actually of equilibrium internally than last year, surprisingly. There's ups and downs, but the bedrock of self-love, the bedrock of healing, and the bedrock of being connected to others is there, and that's really important. So are you taking advantage of this 2020 year, seeing more clearly, being more connected, and stepping into the healing energy? Those were the themes for the year. Let's talk about July. So the themes for July, interestingly, I've mirrored a little bit of June. So if you haven't seen June, go back and watch June. But the first theme I have for July is a mirror of the relationship university that we had last month. It's emotional university this month. And yes, they both are feminine themes, feminine energy, because that is also one of my themes coming up. But first, let's look at emotional university. Cancer is the sun sign for this month, and Cancer is a sensitive, emotional. Some people give Cancer a bad rap. I don't give you a bad rap, Cancers. I'm a Pisces. I love you. But some people give Cancer a bad rap and they say they're moody. The truth is they're in touch with the watery flow, Cancer's a water sign, of the sacral divine feminine. And again, the numbers for this year are 2020, 2020. The 2s are for the intimacy, the sacral, the divine flow of emotions. The 4 is for the unconditional mother love and for the healing. Can you feel that? Because coming up, I'm going to show you in July how 2 and 4, especially 44, I'm seeing it everywhere. Are you? We're creating a new world. We really are. And to create something new, old things have to go. We all know that. So there has been a lot of loss, a lot of grief. And grief is simply the sacred awareness of our heart, the deepening of our heart chakra, the feeling of loss in this temporal world from a heart that is everlasting, right? We're everlasting in our heart energy, and yet we have to watch things come and go. So that's the loss, that's the grief. And to get more on that, watch my video on your 5 rights of your heart chakra. I believe I put grief as the 4th or 5th right, and it's really beautiful. It's a new view of grief. Okay, let's move into and get back to emotional university. We are learning about our emotions, and we've also got Mercury's in Cancer this entire month, and half, or not half, through the 11th, Mercury will be retrograde. So we're re-looking at our relationship. We're communicating with ourselves and with others around our emotional world. Not just our emotional, because Cancer is also about home, and it's about nurturing, and it's about security. But Cancer really is the sign of flowing emotions and dealing with, not dealing with, that's not the right word. That's the masculine culture affecting me right there. Rather embracing, I don't like dealing with, embracing the fullness of our capacity to feel. It's exciting when you look at it from that way. We have so much in our culture of, I don't want to feel that, I don't want to be sad, I don't want to be angry, I don't want to grieve, I don't want to be agitated, I don't want to, whatever, you fill in the blank, right? Cancer is the flowing ability to move through many different moods, and we do want to have a strength in our center that the Capricorn energy, and I'll get into this because Capricorn-Cancer, what we're seeing all the time right now are 2 and 4, 2 and 4. And Capricorn-Cancer, because we just finished May 5th a nodal lesson of moving from the Capricornian, the Capricorn viewpoint of everything is work and logic and discipline and climbing the mountain like the mountain goat. And we have moved into, we finished the nodal lesson of balancing that with the Cancer energy of, ironically, coming home, since so many people took work home, coming home, being with family, nurturing, loving, enjoying life from the heart chakra. Can you feel that? Exciting stuff. And I just love when the universe keeps repeating these numbers and these signs so that we can really understand that this is the path that we're meant to be walking right now. So Emotional University this month, beware that your emotions aren't leading you. So last month we talked about the maturation of the masculine. I've certainly felt it through June, and I feel much more in touch with my emotions now, and I'm looking forward to working with them in July. And I feel much stronger in my masculine without it being bombastic. And that's in the June video, if you want to watch the June video, the maturation of the masculine. So what happens is now, when my guide showed me that we'd be going into Emotional University, I was like, of course. Because the second theme that we're going into is aligning with the divine feminine in a true way. This is not aligning for this month and then it goes away. This is the new coming of the feminine in an embodied way. Now, if you watched me a few months back, you saw that I talked about how, I think it was March or April, where we were really coming into the age of Aquarius. Now, we've been talking about it since the 1970s, but we really are coming into it in an embodied way. The crisis of COVID caused us to really come into the moment. It forced us to come into the moment, which is a big part of the new age, being in the moment. And it also forced us to recognize our collectivity, our connection, and that is part of the new age. It also showed us that there's more. While this is a physical thing, it caused us to go inward and see more of our spiritual self. All hallmarks of the new age. But the change with that is that it made it real. It made it tangible. We are now doing it in a real way. It's no more talking about the new age. We're being it. This is what's happening now with the divine feminine. There's no more just talking about this divine feminine. We made a switch in 2012, but as you know, it's slow going for change when we've been doing something for thousands of years, and that's what we've been doing, the masculine emphasis of life for thousands of years, even in our spiritual practices. So I'm excited to say that my guide showed me very clearly. I even called up a friend a few days ago and said, you know, I want to do a TED Talk one day on cycles, living in the cycles, cyclically, where we belong with nature rather than living in this linear viewpoint. And then literally, I want to say 4 days later, like just yesterday, I saw an astrologer who I adore. I looked at her video on July, and of course, she was talking about this too, the cyclical versus the linear. And I was so excited. I was like, it's collective, it's happening. So we're feeling it together. Those of us that are tapped in and reading the signs of where things are moving and feeling it within ourselves know that the divine feminine is now sinking in. And the symbol for the divine feminine for me, it's the chakra reference, which is the sacral chakra of the 2 and the heart chakra of the 4, and of course the 6. When you take 2 and 4 and you add them together, you get 6. But the one I'm seeing right now is the embodied. I'm not seeing the 6 because that's less embodied. That's way at the high end of our energy spectrum. I'm seeing the 2 and the 4 and the 4 and the 2. So Emotional University's theme number 1. Second theme is aligning with the divine, and in particular in an embodied way in regard to the sacral and heart chakras, looking for those 2s and 4s all around you, looking for collaboration, connection, going inward in regard to your relationship with self and your relationship with others. We just graduated last month from Relationship University, so you can really do that now. And most importantly, and I really want to emphasize this, owning the cyclical nature of our life experience. It has been disowned for so many years. We've been taught that things are linear, like they start here, they go here, and then they go there. Can you feel it? We're taught that they're linear. And they are not linear. Life is not linear. Life is cycles. That's why I have the chakra life cycles. You can read about my chakra life cycles and find out the cycles that actually you have 2 chakras that are emphasized each year of your life. You can learn about those and tap into those and find out what your partners are so you can see how you're navigating together. And you can see that in my book, Roadmap to Life Mastery, Discover the 7-Year Cycles that Shape Your Life. That's at chakraboosters.com in my store. And it's mind-boggling, and it will teach you all about that cyclical nature of your life. We are a part of nature, and we're moving in cycles. And you can know this the minute that you see that the moon and the sun are where they are, right? It takes 365 days in a year. We are constantly, everything is moving in these cycles, and so are we. And when we make our life linear, it gets heady and we disconnect from our physical experience. The feminine is all about embodiment. Shiva and Shakti. Shiva's about the consciousness and Shakti's about embodiment. And then in this embodiment, we have 3 masculine chakras and 3 feminine ones. And now is the time to really emphasize the embodied feminine. We have 2, 4, and 6. 6 is awesome. It's there. It's doing its thing. We're all tapped in right now. But the 2 and the 4 are about feeling your feminine nature. Even you men, feeling your playful, sacral, emotional self. Feeling your heart, feeling the part of you in this time of challenge that is needed so badly to connect with other people, right? That's really our essence. It's the middle chakra, the heart. It's the balance point. They call it the unstruck sound because it's so peaceful. It's so middle point. And that's what love is. Love is not the drama and emotion that we make it out to be in movies. Love is the unconditional acceptance that allows us to be here and present in this moment for ourselves and for others. So yay, divine feminine. And we practiced the maturation of the masculine last month to prep for this. So we're ready to start stepping in fully to the divine feminine in an embodied way. The third theme, not surprising, is inequities seeking balance. Now, this is socially showing up as racial inequity, pay inequities, power inequities. It's showing up in all these ways, and it's coming to the light because it's over. Its days are over. Over. And at the same time, I want you to realize that we have this inner thing going on inside of us at all times of these inequities. And that's what chakra balancing is all about. It's not about replacing the masculine with the feminine or the feminine with the masculine. It's about finding the balance. And since we've erred so far into the masculine, like a teeter-totter, to find the balance, we need to weigh just a little bit more in the feminine right now. It's sort of like you have a scale and you've already got 100 pounds. You've got 110-pound little barbells that you've put on that side, which is the masculine on the right. And then you've got, I'm doing it opposite for you so you can see it properly, hopefully. And then on the left, you've got nothing. So you've got to do a lot. You aren't just going to, you've really got to do a lot. You've got to now emphasize. You can't go, okay, I'm going to do half feminine, half masculine, half feminine. No, because then you'll keep adding to what's already been too emphasized. So yes, for a while, we need to emphasize the feminine, and that's why the end of our nodal lesson, our soul lesson, that 18-month soul lesson that ended May 5th when the nodes shifted. And again, you can watch my May forecast if you want to know about that nodal shift, but it's still being emphasized now. It's almost like we finished the lesson and now we're getting the post test, which is, did we learn that Capricornian climb the mountain, get logical, make everything about work, make everything about, money and external success and outer life? Did we learn that that is not enough when we make our whole life that? Did we learn to bring our work home, to come home to Cancer, the opposite sign? So you have the father, Capricorn, the mother, Cancer. We finished the lessons. We graduated in that lesson of balance between the two when we were all at home. I work from home anyway, but many people who, if you work from an office, you went home in May, and the lesson finished of like, we're finally home. We're taking care of self. We're paying attention to family. We're making love more important. We're making connection more important. We're remembering that we're not here to just grind away like in some kind of industrial revolution, right? Big throat thing on that one. That we're here to love. We're here to play. We're here to join hands, to be collective and connected. Connection is the specialty of the heart. Connection, compassion, seeing similarity rather than difference. That is. And all the differences that we're seeing in inequities fighting right now is the breaking of that old paradigm to bring more equality, to bring more connection. I know you can feel that. Okay, guys, those are our three themes. Watch how those themes keep going throughout when I talk about the dates, because every time you hear about the Capricorn energy and the Cancer energy, that's about seeking that balance between mother and father, masculine and feminine, outer world and inner world, work world and play, and exploration or relational world. The relational world is really what I want, the personal versus the professional. And can we begin to interweave them? I've been interweaving mine for years. I'll go traveling and playing, and that's where I do my work with you guys. How can you interweave those? And as I go through these dates, just notice both the 2s and the 4s and the Cancer and Capricorn energy. Pluto is also kind of a deep, Saturn is also Cancer, Capricorn type energy. So when I mention Saturn, and also Pluto is even deeper than root. Like Capricorn's root, Saturn is root, Pluto's like under root. It's the underworld. So when Jupiter, the highest, the crown, gets together with Pluto, which is like subroot, the underneath the rug, then we have a big expansive energy. And that's the first thing I'm actually going to talk about, because last month I forgot to mention June 30th. And you're probably watching this if you jumped on this video before June 30th. So it's in time for you to see that on June 30th, we're going to have the second of 3 Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions of this year. I don't know if it's the same for you. I think it's strong for everyone. For me, it's ridiculous. This conjunction is just speaking to me so much without even planning it. The first one happened in 4/4/2020. 4/4/2020, heart, 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 including the sacral energy of 2020 and the seeing clearly, which is really solar plexus of the vision of 2020. So it's amazing. Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. It started on 4/4, the first one. They went apart. They're dancing, these two planets. They're a long ways apart, but when they get in conjunction, it's pretty powerful. And they did it in 4/4. And then they did it again. They're doing it again on the 30th of June, and they're doing it again in November 12th. So look at it at each of those times. For me, April 4th, 2020 was, I didn't even plan it. I can't believe how I don't plan this stuff, and it just happens, really, honestly. It was my very first getting together, the first circle that we did for Circling Space. Now, I haven't opened it to the public, but it was the first private one I did, and it was so awesome. It was amazing. Many of you know I'm creating circlingspace.com that I'll be opening in the fall for us to have a safe, open, joyous place to grow and be ourselves together. And that's what Circling Space is. Started it on 4/4, so I'm going to check in with it here. I'm videoing this before June 30th, but I'll be sure to check in quite closely on the 30th of June in with my baby Circling Space and see how that's going. And I invite you to check anything you started right around the beginning of April, okay? It doesn't have to be right on that date, because you also have that energy is still a little before and a little after. Any of your projects or intentions that you set at that time, I would like you to check into that, okay, and see, and then prepare toward where do you want it to be November 12th, when the third conjunction of Jupiter, the highest, think crown, 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 Pluto, the deepest, think under root even, and also Jupiter, expansion, Pluto, transformation and intensity. So we're talking just huge, huge energy, full expanse of the chakras, anything you want to change in yourself, in your soul, in your physical world, because it's deep. Pluto goes deep, and we've got so much Capricornian energy as all these planets that were in the stellium, the Capricorn stellium of January, are coming back. They're coming back to visit Capricorn again. So that's the first thing. And speaking of coming back into Capricorn, on July 1, Saturn is coming back where it's comfortable. Saturn's been in Aquarius, which I think of Aquarius as the new age planet. And Saturn went there, in my opinion, to bring some reality. Like, one thing that COVID has been is a big dose of reality for everyone, asking those who are too much in the physical realm to not be all about the fear, asking if you're very much in that realm of the physical to come up and feel the spiritual and feel the growth and the possibilities that are happening right now. And for those people who are up in the spiritual and are ignoring what's happening in the physical world, they're saying, come down, be smart, respect your brothers on earth and sisters on earth by being wise and knowing you're a part of this web, even on a physical level. So can you feel that? It's asking for that. Well, Saturn's coming back into Capricorn, so we might get a little tightening of limitation. Saturn is the taskmaster. It's the tough father, but if you look at it in a positive life, it is the loving tough father. It's doing it for a reason. So where do you need to have better boundaries, better limits, better sense of your Capricorn nature of, kind of being steady and earthy and getting it done. July 4th, we have an incredible full moon lunar eclipse. It'll be at different times, the eclipse itself, throughout the world. But I'm going to talk about the time I always talk about is when the full moon is. And the full moon, the completion energy comes at 9:44 p.m. Pacific. Now, the 9 changes if you're in other time zones. That's Pacific, so change it. For many of you, it'll be on the 5th of July. But for the US, and I rarely point out the US, but it's important this time, so hear me out. We're coming to a big, possible turning point for the US and a big birthday. For the US, it's going to be 9:44, 10:44, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 12:44. So in Eastern, it'll actually be July the 5th, which is interesting. But for the Pacific, where I am, it'll definitely be in the evening of the 4th of July, which is the birthday of the US. And get this, guys. I just said 4/4, right? Because the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction came back from 4/4 to now 6:30. And this July 4th eclipse is at 9:44. So there we got double 4s again. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, the 44 is going to stick. And I just keep seeing 44 during this year because it's that feminine heart energy, which relates to that moon energy, the Cancer, right? And so what this is saying is that we are celebrating from the 4th of July, 1776. Are you ready? The 244th birthday of the US. There's those numbers again, the 2 and the 44, with it being on the 4th and the full moon happening at 9:44 in the Pacific and 10:44 and 11:44 and 12:44. So I think that's pretty darn cool. Pretty cool. So I think it's just saying there's a big cycle all the way from birth when we're looking here at the US back to the way that we created this country for equality. It was meant to be, but even then you had slavery and you had inequality. So it was meant to be equal, but it really wasn't equal. And I think we're revisiting that now. And the 244 for the birthday is saying, let's come to our heart, let's come to our feminine energies, and let's have real equality, not like equality that works for our financial system, but true equality. And so that's working itself out. And that could mean, and probably will mean, more loss, more things falling apart, more discordance at first. But the goal is that 244, and that's why I wanted to bring it out, you guys. For a year now, the US is going to be 244. So get into that sacral energy, the 2, get into that 44 of the heart. I also want to just remind you real quick, that was the 3rd eclipse in 5 weeks. It's gigantic, it's huge. It is a time to exhale for a minute. And that's why I think it's amazing that it's our 244th birthday. So exhale a little bit. And we've just gone through like a minefield of energy, okay? So give yourself some nurture and some love. Big changes have happened. Now let them settle in. July 8th is the next thing I want to point out, simply because Jupiter, that expansion planet, is moving back to the exact same place in Capricorn, root chakra, Earth, kind of old systems, right? It's moving that new energy, the same energy that was there on that stellium, January 12th, 2020. It's going to be at 22 degrees Capricorn. So there again, you have it. You have like Jupiter in Capricorn, you have crown energy Jupiter, 6 and 7, and you have root energy, definitely Capricorn, and that whole spread, they're coming together. We're bringing that spiritual energy into the world, and it's telling us that the divine feminine is here with that 22 degrees of Capricorn. There were so many planets that were 22 degrees. Go back and watch a video if you can about that January 12th, 2020 stellium. It was really the beginning of all of this shift that we're seeing now. So July 12th, I just want to tell you, Mercury's going direct in, remember, Mercury's in Cancer all month. Did I tell you that? Mercury is in Cancer all month. In the first part, it's going to be retrograde. So you might be looking more at emotional communication, communicating the divine feminine, communicating your unconditional love, communicating your acceptance. This isn't dramatic romantic love. This is acceptance, the way a mother loves a child. I accept you. I accept all of you. The healthiest way, I should say, that a mother loves a child. So do remember, though, the first day, that day when it goes retrograde and the day when it goes back direct, Mercury, don't do any contracts, I really feel it on those days. But after that, you'll start to see that more and more you can move into your communication. July 20th is our next date, you guys. It's the new moon in Cancer. So the sun's been in Cancer all month. Now we've got the moon. The moon isn't necessarily where the sun is, but in this case it is. And the new moon in Cancer is just reminding us again of just how much Cancer and Capricorn energy we have this month. How much we're balancing the father and mother energies, but that we've been in the father so much that we're actually leaning on the strength, the maturation of the masculine, to allow us to be in our feminine in a safe way without the emotions carrying us away, but rather in a safe, vulnerable, transparent, connected way. And the new moon is your chance to plant seeds of that. Okay? It's time for all of us to plant deep, embodied, this is the key, embodied seeds of divine feminine on this planet, of being able to move with the cycles, flow in that watery way, let our moods move without allowing them to control us, but they get to express, they get to inform us. And allowing our deepest feminine knowing to inform us all the time, so that we're not just doing things in a linear way and going after goals that other people have told us we want, and going after things that our heart isn't in. So this is a new beginning. Cancer, you can make intentions around your home life, your security, compassion, your emotions. But particularly, I'm going to ask you to think about your intention around seeding the divine feminine and cyclical living, natural, flowing living, connected, loving, feminine, purposeful living, being your new normal. What intention can you set around that if it feels good to you? If it doesn't, then do what feels good to you, because that's what's important. That's part of it, right? And July 22nd, it's just a good feeling day. So I want to point it out. The sun goes into Leo. Leo is generous and open-hearted. I just love, because to me, Cancer is sweet, compassionate, and very understanding. And then Leo is very open-hearted, but generous. And Leo has like a look at me energy, but look at me so I can make you feel better. Like, they're the same. They're like the introverted and extrovert. They're so different, but the love aspect is so lovely in both of them. Do you get it? So as we move into Sun in Leo, we also move into a sextile between Mercury, still in Cancer. Mercury's in Cancer all month long, so there's your Cancer again, and Uranus in Taurus. So here we are with Cancer, and Uranus is the sign of surprises, changes of the unexpected. And Taurus is abundance and beauty. It's connected to Venus and just loving and pleasure and values and the earth. Taurians are the poetic masters of this earth experience. So to me, this is about embodiment. This is like the last part of the month is get in your body and live big, live from your heart, live from the fire, that Leo fire. So just just positive energy on the 22nd. July 27th, Jupiter, still in Capricorn, is sextile Neptune in Pisces. This is a visionary, positive thing. And this is another thing that happens several times, I believe, this year. But this particular time, Jupiter's in Capricorn. So Jupiter is, expansion again. So we're expansion about this earthly energy and what we can change in a very real world, successful kind of way, while putting lots of energy into this Neptune energy and also Jupiter energy of expansion, and Pisces, which is love in the spiritual sense. It's like the highest crown realm. We're talking about the highest crown realm here. So a lot of visionary stuff could come up on the 27th. The key is to ground it into the real world. The Jupiter being in Capricorn will help that. And just the fact that we've got so much Capricorn energy, that Saturn is in Capricorn, we're supported right now in these big visionary ideas, not clouding us, not confusing us, but rather inspiring us. And then literally, I just saw like this, like we're climbing down the beanstalk. I was seeing like Jack and the beanstalk, and we're climbing and we're bringing the heaven nuggets, the gold down into the world. Can you feel that? It's exciting stuff. And outwardly, I know you guys, I'm always talking about energy. Outwardly, things could continue to break apart. This is just showing you the possibilities within it. That what's breaking apart is the old, purely masculine, lopsided paradigm. And while that's never comfortable to watch anything break away that we're used to, and it can create grief over so many different things, and should, meaning you want to actually feel the grief in order to move on, I do want to say that I think we can trust. We can trust right now. That we can trust always, but we're getting the signs, the 2s and the 4s, and this being 2020, seeing clearly. We're seeing clearly, you guys, and we're seeing it from a feminine perspective, much, much more. So let's do, I already shuffled up the cards so I would be able to just go right to my reading. Let's see who our first goddess is this reading. Okay, I also realized I need my glasses. Here they are. We've got White Tara. You guys, this is so funny because first of all, okay, let me read the card for you. First of all, her Doreen Virtue's angel cards, she calls it sensitivity. Ooh, very Cancerian, sensitivity. Absolutely. For this month, while we're in the sun in Cancer and many other things are happening around Cancer, sensitivity. It says, you are becoming increasingly sensitive. Avoid harsh relationships, environments, situations, and chemicals. So funny because I just went and rewatched my video for the year for 2020, and I chose White Tara then, or she chose herself, and I talked a lot about boundaries and about the fact that we are choosing. So you do need to choose. Your love, you're going to find this interesting thing happen in 2020, and I'm sure it's already happening, which is your unconditional acceptance and love is growing. Can you feel that? That is growing. And your clarity about that's in and that's out is growing. So you're actually saying no to more things even while you're loving more things. No is self-love, and you can't love others till you take care of yourself. So no is a very loving thing. So that's what I believe that Tara's here to remind us, that what do you say yes to, what do you say no to, what feels good in your body, and be aware of your sensitivities. When there's a lot going on in the world like there is right now, you need to be extra aware of your sensitivities. What feels good to you? What feels safe? What doesn't? That's that sensitive Cancer energy, and that's the first half of the month. Please really honor that for yourself. Okay, put the deck back here. And our second card is, let me get my glasses so I can recognize it right away. Our second card is, our second card is Kali, you guys. So we have White Tara and we have Kali. And I don't know if I probably have to show them up on my chin because we're doing kind of a close-up this time. We have White Tara and we have Kali. Okay, Kali is just endings and beginnings. The old must be released so that the new can enter. I always feel like Kali grounds me a lot. She's very root chakra. I can come off as very spiritually bypassy because I do feel energy first. So the external world is secondary for me. But it's time for me to make it even more important because I'm coming more and more into my embodiment. We all are, as we come into this divine feminine, which is about living in this world and the pleasures and beauty of this world, including the losses, including all of it. So Kali reminds us that in this realm, there's an everlasting, her courage and her, I think Kali's badass, so that comes from the idea that we are everlasting energy. We are God's source. And her knowing that allows her to come in and just, she wears severed baby heads as a necklace, okay? So there's this like brutal energy that comes from trusting and knowing that every new beginning starts with an ending, and her willingness to create those endings. So Kali coming in for me is giving us for me, it's not a sober note because everything that's getting ushered in is amazing. But there is, I want to say, a sober energy to it of we're going to keep seeing, you know, because she's the second half of the month, but I almost feel like I keep getting this sense of first half of the year. And interesting, I drew White Tara, who I drew in the year-long thing. And I feel like Kali we're still going to have a lot of stuff that needs to fall away. You can just look around and see that we do. So we need to embrace Kali. We need to embrace her and allow ourselves to grieve, but know that every loss is literally creating a vacuum for new energy, a new way to come in. And all the signs are saying that new way is toward cycles and nature, being part of nature, being in the divine feminine, being in our own emotional bodies, but doing so in a way where our masculine can hold it. Because our masculine will not need to control, which is what we've seen a lot of over the centuries. It won't need to control when it is solid and trusting of the divine feminine. So there's this relationship happening. Can you feel that? And that's what all of my chakra work is about, you guys. It's about this masculine feminine. You can go to my site and get a free course if you haven't yet, where I don't really begin with the traditional just here's what the chakras mean. I tell you there's 3 masculine, 3 feminine, and how they interact in your body, and then there's one unified, the crown. And we have a lot of unified energy protecting us, showing up right now. Jupiter in Capricorn. Jupiter, like the God energy, the crown energy, coming down into this planet, into Earth, into Capricorn, to support us in real world change, not airy-fairy Neverland change. Oh, big exhale with that one, you guys. Big exhale. So we're halfway through the year and about to begin the second half. I hope that you'll use these themes, this understanding of all the divine feminine that's coming in, and have trust in 2020 and all that it's bringing, despite the challenges of the outer things that are happening. And know that when you're in emotional connection with yourself, which then allows you to be in deep emotional connection with others, which then allows others to be in deep supportive emotional connection with you, you're actually stronger. You're actually stronger in a really cool way, a feminine strength, than you are when you're just climbing that mountain alone. And climbing that mountain alone is the Capricorn, the mountain goat, right? So that's the past. That's how it's been. And I'm not saying don't climb mountains, climb them. But you may have even more fun when you climb them with an expedition of people who have your back. So whatever mountains you're climbing in life now, my guides are showing me quite clearly all of this symbolism right now, you guys. Climb it with the group that you want to be with. Because you don't have to not climb. It's not about throwing away the masculine. We're still climbing. But it's about doing it in a way that makes it more nurturing, makes it more enjoyable, makes it more real for us, and more balanced, so that we can share it with others. Because really, we're going to have mountains to climb all together as a planet, right? We know this. And we have a planet to take care of as well as each other. So that is the energy forecast for July 2020. I know there's still some tough challenges ahead, you guys, but I feel really good about all of it. I hope you'll take the themes and work with them this month, as well as working with the full moon in releasing and the new moon on the 20th in setting those new intentions for the divine feminine. And I will see you on the next video.